And whenever you're ready.
Resilience After Childhood Trauma by me, Naira. What is resilience? Resilience is, according to the National Child Traumatic Center Network, resilience is the ability of a child to recover and show early and effective adaptation following a potentially traumatic event, which may lead you to ask, what is a potentially traumatic event? Traumatic events, according to the CDC, are abuse or violence, including sexual, physical, or psychological. Other examples include neglect, sudden or violent loss of a loved one, terrorism, serious accident, or life-threatening illness. Examples of lesser traumatic events are moving, living through the COVID-19 pandemic, pet loss, and these experiences as a whole are called adverse life experiences. 1 in 7 children have experienced childhood abuse and or neglect. This is likely an understatement, according to SAMHSA. These childhood traumas have lasting effects on people. As you can see in the diagram behind me, this is the CDC pyramid of adverse childhood effects, or ACEs. These are the traumas that I listed earlier. They influence health and lifespan well-being. It affects early development, such as social, cognitive, or emotional impairment, as children can't really learn how to make relationships and learn to rely on others at a young age due to the abuse or neglect they faced. These emotional relationships with others are what they rely on to create a healthy environment for them to learn and thrive in, and it's crucial to resilience after such events. However, some children don't have these opportunities, and the pyramid will continue. The next on the pyramid is adoption of health risk behaviors, which is usually seen in adolescence with taking illegal substances or partaking in illegal activities. And then diseases, probability, and social problems are present in adulthood, where after the fact that they struggled in making social relationships with others, they don't have many to rely on, and that stress that lasts throughout their life will affect them, and your mental health deteriorates, physical health deteriorates, your immune system will deteriorate as a result of this continued stress on your body. Stress catches up, and eventually all of that can lead to early death. It's unfortunate, but that's what the unreversible effects of trauma are. So, this can all be mitigated by resilience, but how? Children are exceptionally like a sponge. They absorb anything around them and anything they learn. So when they're in an environment where they have the support to move on, they can more readily face more challenges in the future. What's most important for them is family life, where they can spend time, make meaningful relationships with those who share their values, solve problems with them, and ensure their safety. Children need good environments to grow and learn cognitively, because without this, their development is malnourished, including besides from family, they also need a safe community life, such as school life, which can be seen as an escape if their family life isn't good. So, supporting our children. Unresolved trauma has lasting effects on them. Every child deserves to be confident and healthy, and children who learn to cope at an early age will do better in life and won't progress through that pyramid that I showed earlier from the CDC. So, solution 1. Opportunities in schools and communities. School is seen as a safe place for many who face domestic abuse, and it's something to take their mind off of it. They have structured routines which they can find safety in, and there's a lot of belonging that comes, especially if they have others who they relate with or feel comfortable with at school. This includes having adults they feel comfortable with, like social workers, counselors, and even teachers, bus staff, and cafeteria staff. Schools and communities can offer services like school programs, mental health services, recreational activities, and endorse a diverse culture which make children feel cared for. When they have these things, they feel supported they feel structure in their life, and they can move on from these adversities that they faced. Because once you get to adulthood, it's very hard to go back. Children are sponges. Solution number 2 is offering mental health resources and promoting positive role models in their life. So children learn what they see. They're like sponges. And if they have many trusted adults around them in which they can tell their problems to, they can feel safe and comforted. They can, if they are facing abuse at home, they can get out of that situation early and stop that pyramid. They can grow as people. If we can teach kids at an early age about what an unhealthy environment looks like, and that they can reach out for help, that is the priority for us. Promoting role models who help children find practical solutions and relate with children is very essential. So, limitations and implications. Some limitations are, especially in lower income communities, it's hard to find where the funding will be coming from. And passing legislature is also not easy, because to mandate that all schools have trained personnel is especially not simple, and training can vary depending on each school. And in community services such as after-school activities, there have to be personnel who work there as well. So they have to be trained and learn to see the signs of trauma and learn how to help children. Some implications would be that schools and community service would need more funding, so states would have to increase budgets, and communities would need more money and trained personnel to facilitate safe areas. And the conclusion here is that we need to help children when they're younger rather than when they're older, because we can stop that pyramid from getting any farther than it has to be. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions. How valid and reliable are the sources you used? How do you know what sources didn't work?
So I typically try to use sources like the CDC or organizations that are specially dedicated to helping children with trauma or preventing domestic abuse. And as you can see here, I have them listed. What was the question again?
Sure. How valid and reliable are the sources you used? How do you know which sources didn't work?
I found some sources that were from blogs, and I choose not to include some of them because I felt that either if they didn't have statistics or they couldn't directly point to where they got that information from. You know that the CDC can do research on their own, but some of these blogs don't have the manpower to do that. So I tried to stay more with either like national or bigger scaled organizations.
Okay. And then lastly, explain the level of certainty you have about your conclusion, solution, or recommendation.
I have a very good level of certainty because just the mere exposure of children being in front of positive role models and knowing that they are in a safe and caring environment can entirely change their upbringing. So, if I go back, opportunities in schools, we spend around 7 hours in school, and after school especially, like children have to stay with those personnel for hours at a time, and that can be seen as an escape for them. And if that escape is what they need, then it's absolutely essential that it is of the highest quality.
All right. Thank you very much.